Hello everyone. So the topic for the day is currying in JavaScript. So this will be our agenda for the day. First, we will understand the basics of currying, how it works in JavaScript, along with some real-time and code-based examples. Then we will see the benefits of currying and some practical applications of currying. So let's start. Introduction to currying. Currying is a functional programming technique that translates functions with multiple parameters into a series of single argument functions, allowing for partial application. As you can see in this figure, the non-curried function takes all the arguments as multiple parameters, whereas the curried function takes argument one by one. The term currying is named after the mathematician Haskell Curry, who has made significant contribution to the functional programming field. Currying in JavaScript. Currying in JavaScript helps break down a function that takes multiple parameters into a chain function that take one parameter at a time. As you can see in this figure, the first non-curried function takes all the parameter at once, but the curried definition of the same function, instead of taking all the parameter at once, takes the first argument, returns a new function that takes the next argument, and so on till the arguments are provided. How currying works in JavaScript? It uses the underlying concept of closure to achieve it. A closure is a function that has access to its own scope, the outer function variables and global variables, even after the outer function has finished executing. This enables function to remember this environment. As you can see in this example, here we have a function add with an argument a, which returns another function with an argument b, which returns another function with an argument c, which returns the sum of these three arguments. A and B values are retained by a closure. On the right side, you will see the ES6 syntax for implementing currying in JavaScript. Here, the function add with argument num1 returns another function with argument num2, which returns another function with argument num3, which returns the sum of the previous three arguments. Here are some code-based examples for currying. On the left-hand side, you see a non-curried normal function in JavaScript to add three numbers. And this one is the curried definition of the same addition function. Now we'll see some real-time console-based examples. So the first one here is a sum function which takes three parameters and returns us the sum of those three variables. Since all the arguments are passed at once, it is a non-curried function. So this is how the curried version of the same function looks like. Here, each function is broken into a chain of subfunctions, taking each only one parameter at a time. This is how you can call a curried function where all the arguments are passed separately. But what happens if we just pass one argument instead of all three? In that scenario, only this part will be true and then it will return the description for function B. Similarly, if we just pass two parameters, we will get the description for the function C. And when we pass all the three parameters, we get the required result. Here you can see the ES6 syntax for the same sum function discussed above. Now we will understand or discuss some real-time practical application of currying. One of the application I can recall from my industrial experience is uh, uh, we can have a function which has several parameters which all are API calls, and we want all the functions to be executed only when all the API are confirmed successfully. For example, in this case, if these three are API calls, we want this function to be executed only when all the three API calls are received successfully. Another practical implementation I've written here is the curried function to automate the email writing process. Here you can see the user just needs to pass the receiver's email address, the subject of the email, and the body, and the ready to use email is prepared. Another practical implementation of currying is to achieve the concept of infinite currying. Usually, it is impossible to create a function which can take infinite number of arguments, but Using infinite currying, we can achieve it. Let's understand it with the help of a real-time example. Here we have a function add which takes an argument num1 which returns another function which takes an argument num2. Inside that function we have a if condition which helps us to execute that infinite currying recursively till we have the value of num2. Let's understand it with the help of this example. Here we have called that function add with three arguments 5, 6, and a null argument. During our first call, the num1 is 5, num2 is 6, it returns 11, and then during the second function call, the num1 will be 11, and the num2, which is a null value, will be undefined. Thereby, it will break this if condition and give us the final result 11. Similarly, we can extend it to further more parameters. Here we have discussed it how it will be implemented for four parameters and so on. Now we will discuss benefits of currying. Currying helps in unlocking the potential of functional programming techniques in JavaScript. It helps us in writing higher order functions, thereby enabling us to use concepts like abstraction and encapsulation. It helps in error reduction by removing the incorrect or excessive parameter calls, and also helps in writing modern and reusable code, which can help in saving time and effort during the development. Some practical applications of currying. It is used in libraries and frameworks like Load Flash, Ramda. In real world scenarios, currying can simplify event handling, asynchronous programming, and API interaction. Currying can also enhance functional programming through currying. Not only functional programming is applied, but it also encourages to write more declarative and expressive code. Now to summarize and conclude what we have studied. Summary of currying. Currying transforms multi-parameter functions into a series of single parameter functions, enhancing code adaptability and efficiency. Its importance in JavaScript is very much because it founds the foundation of functional programming practices for JavaScript. And finally, embracing currying leads to a cleaner, more maintainable code that promotes better collaboration and eases future development challenges. That's all for this topic. These were the references used. Thank you for your time.